If you're buying a house and your appraisal comes in low, don't panic. Seriously, I've had buyers call me freaking out, thinking that their deal is dead because the appraisal came in lower than what they agreed to pay for. And in most cases, that's not what happens. In this video, I'm going to be explaining what an appraisal is, why an appraisal can come in low, and the 5 options that buyers and sellers have when an appraisal does come in low. Because when you're buying a home in Philly, Delco, or the main line, understanding this one part of the process can save you thousands of dollars. One thing that surprises a lot of first-time home buyers is that the bank doesn't automatically agree to loan you the amount of what you offered to pay for the house. You might offer $500,000, the seller accepts that, everyone's excited. Then the lender orders an appraisal and suddenly there's a problem. Now everyone's asking, is the house actually worth what I'm paying for? And that's exactly what the appraisal is designed to answer. So what even is an appraisal? An appraisal is an independent opinion of a value performed by a licensed appraiser. Seems pretty self-explanatory. The lender hires the appraiser, not the buyer, not the seller. The appraiser's job is to determine whether the property's value supports the loan amount that the bank is going to give you. Think about it from the bank's perspective. They're not going to lend you hundreds of thousands of dollars more than what the property is actually worth. The appraiser looks at recent sold properties, property condition, square footage, updates, lot size, location, and market trends. Then they issue a report assigning a value. Now here's the key. If you offered $500,000 and the property appraises for $500,000 or more, then we proceed and continue as normal. No issues. But if a property gets appraised for $475,000 when you offered $500,000, this is where things can get interesting. So why do low appraisals happen? Well, a lot of people think a low appraisal means that they overpaid. It's not always true. Depending on the current market, a lot of buyers overbid purchase prices based on the current market demand. The appraiser is looking backward at recently sold data when the current market may be moving faster than the past trends. I've seen situations where a property receives multiple offers and the winning buyer goes over asking price. They're not crazy, they're not overpaying, they're just paying what the current market demand is willing to pay for the house. But from the appraisal perspective, maybe the comparable sales haven't caught up yet. I've also seen low appraisals happen because inventory is limited, comparable sales are old, unique properties can be different and difficult to value, and maybe renovations aren't fully reflected in nearby sales. This can happen in Philly neighborhoods a lot. Beautifully renovated home in East Passyunk, Fishtown, Bella Vista may not have the comparable sales nearby. So a low appraisal doesn't mean the contract price was wrong, but it does mean that there's a gap that needs to be addressed. So what does the appraisal gap actually mean? Let's use a simple example again. The purchase price is $500,000. The appraisal comes in at $475,000. That's a gap of $25,000. So now the lender treats the home being worth $475,000. This often creates what's called an appraisal gap, and this is the part that buyers need to understand. This doesn't mean that the bank or the lender is refusing the loan. They're just simply adjusting how much they're willing to lend. Now the question becomes, who's covering the difference? Who's paying for this $25,000 gap? And this is where another layer of negotiation starts. So here are the 5 most common outcomes that can happen with low appraisals. Option 1, the seller can lower the purchase price to the appraised value, which would be $475,000 in this example, if we originally started an offer at $500,000. That was accepted, and then the appraisal comes in and we adjust the purchase price. Option 2, the buyer pays the difference. This is common in competitive markets when A seller says, I'm not lowering the price, and the buyer says, I'm willing to bring the cash and pay the difference. Option 3, you can meet in the middle. This is probably what I see most often in a balanced market where both sides are reasonable. The seller reduces some and the buyer contributes some. Everyone shares the pain here. So the seller would reduce the price by $12,500 and the buyer would have to bring an extra $12,500 to closing. Option number 4, challenge the appraisal. This doesn't happen every day, but it is possible. If there are comparable sales that the appraiser missed and the agents have some pretty good evidence to back that up, you can request another appraiser to come out and challenge the original appraisal. Sometimes additional information changes the outcome, sometimes it doesn't. And it's important to remember that you can't just challenge an appraisal because you don't agree with the number. You need actual evidence to back it up. Option number 5, terminate the contract. If the agreement has an appraisal contingency and the seller and the buyer can't reach an agreement, the buyer may have the option to walk away and get their earnest money deposit back. Every contract is different, deadlines matter, and that is why having a knowledgeable lender and agent on your side who are keeping tabs on everything is extremely important. Because even if you miss it by one day, your appraisal contingency, that protection that you had to walk away and get your deposit back, is now gone. So here's something I tell buyers all the time. A low appraisal isn't automatically bad news. Sometimes it can create negotiation leverage. I've seen some buyers save thousands because an appraisal came in below purchase price. And then the seller realizes that they may face the same problem with the next buyer. So they're willing to negotiate a little bit more because of that. The other thing that buyers should understand is this. Don't become emotionally attached to a number. Understand the long-term value and your plans for the property that you are buying. If you're buying a home for 7, 10, 15 years, the question isn't, am I getting a $5,000 discount today? It's, am I buying the right house for my life and lifestyle? The right buyers, smart buyers, are going to focus on both. If you're buying a home in Philly, Delco, the Main Line, any of the other surrounding suburbs, and you're confused about appraisals, financing, inspections, or anything else about the buying process, please email me. Reach out. My DMs are open and I would be happy to help you navigate through the home buying process. And if you're planning to buy a home soon, make sure to subscribe. I post videos like this every week sharing advice to help buyers avoid expensive mistakes and just practical real estate advice in this local market in Philly and the surrounding suburbs. Thanks for watching.